I really wanted to focus on this idea of an offering or something that we impart from ourselves and it goes somewhere else. That in-between space, this interstitial void, this border, looking at the thresholds of how things pass into this other realm. One of my practices that I have been doing the longest is writing and performing poetry. And so when I think of the images and the types of forms that are present in the space, their relationship, I think often in terms of like, I'm editing a poem. The main aspect of the work is this sprinkler system that has been designed for the space. It is constructed from food grade steel that is used in the drinks industry. There are 4 different points of sprinklers attached to the ends. The pump is filled with rose water and ready to be activated. Anyone can walk up to it and pump it, and then the sprinklers will start to drip. Sometimes when there is this interactive element and there's unpredictability in the work, and it allows people to engage with it and to see the process of change occurring with their involvement, for me that feels like it gives some agency back to the viewer and not necessarily just make them an observer or this kind of passive person in the space. On the floor of the gallery, we have these domestic objects which comprise of these hand-washing jugs and hand-washing bowls that are collecting the drips from the sprinkler. In Iranian grieving culture, rose water is served as a libation. It's an offering that you pour onto graves or as a way of remembering death. For me, that's something very powerful, so I make that association quickly, but someone else might come in here and have a completely different association with roses, and to me, that feels like a really interesting exchange to have. The bowls have been made locally in Peckham with a ceramicist who I collaborated with. Each one of these bowls has a single bottle that has been crushed and placed in it to be fired together. The pillowcases that contain the sand, which would be used to put out fires, at the same time as the sand, when it is fired, that it becomes glass and these other materials. So trying to incorporate this idea of processes into the work. Even something that's trying to be very prosaic is a kind of a poetic decision in a sense. Ever since considering them in an artistic sense, I have been very observant of, different kinds of fire exit signs when I travel. The images themselves are from my friend who's a bodybuilder, and he's also an artist, and I spent an afternoon with him shooting pictures of him, and then I edited them to have this floating quality, this reference to bodily structures and muscular strength within an architectural setting. I think that relationship is very interesting. Working in this architectural manner, looking at the materials that are available in the space, the points of entry, the points of exit, these thresholds, these border situations, who's allowed to cross, which way, who benefits from the crossings across these thresholds. These are all aspects that I wanted to highlight, and that feeds into the conception of the work. One of the most fortunate aspects of this residency was the chance to really spend time in a space and consider a new body of work. And whilst doing so, there is this opportunity to have a publication. In this setting, it felt like the publication should be in the form of an audio work. And so having that dialogue with Saint Abdullah, who used to working with frequencies and various types of arrangements, now I'm trying to bring that into a 3-dimensional space. We have these sound surface transducers that turn the various materials in the space into speakers. Putting all these different layers from the personal to the collective, to the formalistic, to the poetic, colors, shapes, shadows. All these layers are constantly present and being active in the work, and for me it's kind of an act of survival in a way, to try and present every part of yourself or the kind of complexity that is inherent with the world and not try to shy away from it.